Hello and welcome to another installment of Live with HiDEF Lifestyle. I'm your host, Layman, and with me today is Austere. I have Dina and Stan with me. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Dina, why don't we start with you?
Absolutely. So my name is Dina Gazarian. I'm the CEO and founder of Austere, a home theaters accessory brand.
Hi there, I'm Stan Levitsky, and I'm head of product and operations here at Austere, Dina's partner in crime.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And for those who are joining us, this is a live Q&A session as well as a topical discussion. So if you have any questions, feel free to make it so in the comments. I'd like to start off, Dina, why don't you tell me a little about who is Austere?
You bet. So as I mentioned, Austere is a home theater accessory brand. We're a brand that came to market to fill a need and for the customer. One of the things we decided to do, I have a long history in the accessories market for home theater and accessories for all of tech, really. And so we wanted to take the best innovations that you could bring with technology and put it into a product that is designed very well and bring those and collide those two worlds together so you could get more than expected out of your accessory product. So for those of us who leverage accessories in our everyday lives, which we all do, and probably now more than ever since we're all kind of in the home on a regular basis, really most of the accessories out there are very ubiquitous. Most of them are plastic. Pretty much not very good looking to go with, I would say, all of the gorgeous hardware that really has come out in the last 5 to 10 years. If you look at what the industry has done from a appliance space, from a TV and video space, and then even more importantly, what the home office is starting to turn into from this just gorgeous, sleek, beautiful hardware product. Usually you have the plastic kind of attached with it through power, through cable, and it's really not a good experience. And so one of the things we did was take that and leverage design to get even better functionality out of the product and bring some of the better innovation down to this great price point range that would benefit the customer and provide more value. So though you may pay a little bit more for our product, I wouldn't say we are the super high end either. But what you pay for us, you get in value across the board through all of our different and great features of the product. We've been around for a year. So I would say last week was actually our official first year sell a product in the market anniversary, which is pretty cool to see. I think the rumor is most startups don't make it past, like 25% of the startups out there even make it past a year. So that's pretty exciting. And I think that has a lot to do with our team. We're a legacy of vets that came together to build a brand. And so I think that has a lot to do so far with our success out of the gate. So hopefully here's to a year two as we progress with fabulous partners like HiDEF Lifestyle.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of your products, it's not only function, it's also fashion. A lot of these things really look good in the office and in the home. They're not just boring cables. They're attractive looking. They have an eye-catching appeal to them.
Yes, so that's actually kind of a little bit rooted in the name. So I will say, in the beginning, I guess I would say the hardest thing we ever did was pick the name for the brand. It took a lot of different trials out there to find a good name that would represent us and that we could legally own as our own. And Austere is rooted in minimalism and like this sleek, clean type of appearance in the home. So like, not to jump into product right way, but our product is, we've used the right materials, beautiful sleek looks. There's obviously some design and edge to them, like on this power piece that it shows, where if you are a customer, and in the research that we did, a lot of our customers are the ones who will go out and potentially install this on their own. They won't necessarily be the one that actually runs the cables through the wall to hide them or have that luxury of money and finances to be able to do that. So if they are going to have it out and about, then looking at it and showing something that is of gorgeous kind of like look and feel and having out that makes them feel much better about that. So there was a lot of design and hope in the brand to be able to bring that to that customer who's really, it's kind of an extension of them and their personality. So the way that they've designed their home, the way that they have designed their clothing, their look, their car, everything about them, becomes kind of an extension of that style to bring their technology to life.
Excellent. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, of all the product you have a pretty wide variety. What is hot for you right now? I mean, it's the fall. Students are getting, school's starting soon and everything like that. What is the big seller for you guys right now?
So I will say that with the pandemic, as devastating I think as that has been for a lot of people, a lot of families, we have seen some highlights. First of all, working from home became critical. And so with that, people were scrambling to put together home offices and what that working environment would look like. I'll tell you, we live that. So my husband, who's always been in an office, came home. And then the two of us sharing an office and trying to share plugs and share outlets and share charging capability on top of speaking over one of another. It became, I would say, a entertainment in our family. I would be is a good way to say it, almost like a circus, because it was like, who's going to leave the office to be on this call, and how do I have enough plugs to be able to charge all the devices? So our power unit, so our 7 series power unit, which is our one that includes a PD 45 watt charge with the USB-C, has really been our hot seller, I think because of the home office and where it's been driving. So the fact that you get multiple spaced outlets, so if I buy a 6 outlet, I get to use 6 outlets. The fact that you have rapid charging USB-C and USB-A, especially with this 45 watt that allows you the capability to charge any kind of a MacBook, any kind of a PC with USB-C charging immediately just with a cable, not a huge transformer. So that sleek look again comes back into play. So you don't have that big, huge transformer hanging off the back of your desk or as you're moving around the house. So this has by far probably been one of our better sellers. The other one is our Clean and Protect product. So the fact that our Clean and Protect has an antibacterial solution to it. And with the pandemic and the fact that everybody's been very conscious about safety and keeping themselves, free of viruses and bacteria, our Clean and Protect product has been a leader for sure. And then last but not least, gaming right now has been, like, as we all know, one of the hottest categories out there. And so the fact that our 8K cables are leading the way with the capability of providing that right 8K refresh rate and giving you that dynamic range that you need. And the fact that the new sources coming out, which will be our very first 8K sources in our industry, which will be the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, are leading the way. And so 8K has been driving a lot of that for us.
Okay. And for those who might just be joining us, we are live with Austere, and we actually have one of our first questions. This one is from Caddy. What is the warranty on Austere products?
Great question, Caddy. I should have brought this up when I was talking about the brand. One of our brand pillars, well, first of all, as I mentioned, innovation is super great for us. We love that. We want to drive that. Design is super key. But if you bring those two worlds together and don't provide a reliability that the customer can feel comfortable for that price, then we're not doing our job. So we stand behind all of our products with a lifetime warranty on everything we make, our cable, our power, and our clean. Anything goes wrong, you should reach back out to our retailer directly, or you can come directly to us and we will take care of you.
Fantastic. All right. Now, we're briefly talking now about the 8K cables and how hot they are right now. Obviously, yeah, the game systems they're not out quite yet. But have you seen, I wasn't sure I was going to get one, but then I saw some of the previews for some of the games, like for PlayStation. Like my kids, they have PS4, they have Xbox One. I'm like, oh, we don't need a system. Then I saw the games. I'm like, okay, maybe we have to get them, and maybe we need some cables to go with them.
Yeah. I'll let Stan actually. Stan, I know this is your baby, so I would love for you to
absolutely.
be the fan of our lovely 8K cable.
Exactly. So through our 8K cable, so what makes it special? Well, one of the things to try to be true to our brand, which is really around more than expected. It's every single box has it in little print there. It's really around our vision around the fact that any product we do really has to have a substantive design. So in other words, when we say 8K, is it just simply 8K, or is it all of the features required by HDMI org to equal an 8K cable? We believe it's the latter. So in other words, we embedded in this product are all sorts of 8K specific features, which gaming stations and other appliances as they come out or switch from 4K to 8K will naturally have. And so we want to make sure that you're future proof. So really, you can buy one of these. You can run it on a 4K product, right? You can run it on a current PlayStation and interface to your current Samsung. But when you're ready to upgrade, you can simply move the cable. So that's really kind of what makes this special. You'll notice there are 8K cables in the market. I can tell you with all certainty, we have taken a lot of time to make sure we have the features embedded in this, and that we have all of the specific parameters required by the standard. And soon, once the test standard is released in the marketplace, you're going to see an official tag here provided by HDMI.org that shows this is a certified cable. Those are not available to us right now, but we have designed it to meet all of the certification requirements.
Yeah, hey, Liam, really quick, just to back up Stan, two things for me on the HDMI side specifically, which with 8K that was important, is that dynamic range that you are stepping up from 4K to 8K, not only in gaming, just in the picture itself, it's lifelike. And if you don't have the cable that can provide that for, that refresh rate and actually give you that color depth that you're going to want, you're not going to get out of the hardware what you paid for without that right cable. So that's kind of number one for me. And then number two, if there's a little bit of functionality with the design, and I'll brag about Stan and a little bit about what he did. Our cables are very thin, and our connectors are very small with like no to little excess fat on the design side. Mm-hmm. But what's amazing about our cable is because we use a stranded copper that is silver plate coated on the inside, both for the best conductivity and reduction, noise canceling reduction within the cable, it actually gave us kind of this flexibility where, I don't know about you guys, but there's not many HDMI cables on the market where I can actually twist this, I'm trying to grab my camera, twist this around my, finger, right? So think about it. Not like you're going to sit here and twist a cable around your finger, but you are around a desk, you are around a home theater console. You're going to run it every way you can. And the fact that you'll still get perfect signal, and it's been tested multiple times, and I can pinch this cable to this point, right? And it'll still work is very, very impressive. It is very hard to innovate on HDMI because the signal is the signal provided by HDMI.org. Mm-hmm. But if you can do functionality things to make it easier in a use case scenario, then you're really providing a better experience for the customer. And that's what's important to us.
Yeah, and actually, behind the scenes, we probably went through about 10 to 12 iterations of how that cable was wound to be able to actually do that, because we had to actually create a more looser weave. So that it's able to move inside that jacket. The other thing is you'll probably see some very, very well-known brands in the marketplace tout the importance of silver in the composition of the conductors. Silver, actually, without the presence of oxygen, is the best conductor available. But if it's allowed to oxidize, or if it's what's called embrittled, which means it's bent a little bit, it's very, very brittle metal, it'll become a terrible conductor. And so when you see some of the brands touting high concentration of silver, which sounds great on paper, the minute you bend that cable, you have now embrittled the alloy, you have caused it to become less conductive. And so it's great on paper, but it's not necessarily great in practice. And so this is why we wanted to design the cable around the realities of how is the cable used? What is the reality of having a very low profile amazing looking TV right next to the wall? How are you going to get that cable out other than to bend it with a tight radius? And so that's why we went this path.
Absolutely. And that's one of the first things I noticed when I pulled this out of the box was the flexibility, because it's right angles. Everybody's got a right angle to turn.
And all the time. Look at this. Hello.
Now we do have another question from Caddy. Now, can I put the HDMI cables in the wall if I hang my TV?
So they are not CL3 rated, which is the standard that's in the industry. However, they are made with a woven, we call it woven armor. It's made with a Kevlar kit. This is a Kevlar steel, much like what's used in a bulletproof type of jacket. So that also makes it pretty fire type of resistant. Obviously, if you're taking a bullet in a bulletproof jacket, there's a lot of things behind that. So would you feel safe about it? Sure, absolutely. I don't think we did it and made it where you couldn't. Is it CL3 technically rated that if someone came along and did any kind of code checking that the government has in some of their antiquated systems? Then no, it is not necessarily certified the way that the government has required. I hope that answers your question, Caddy.
One helpful tip is if you do route that way, please tape the face of the connector or use the original cap that covers the actual face of the cable. And the reason for that is you don't want to get drywall or dust or dirt in there that would then impede the connection when you put it into your equipment. So that's a common thing that people miss sometimes, and then they wind up having problems. We want to make sure you have a nice smooth install.
Yeah, and Lehman, remember, we made this for somebody who maybe isn't going to know how to run it through the wall, and so it might show. And so again, the reason for the woven armor and the good-looking kind of sleek profile was so if it did show a little bit, it wouldn't necessarily be plastic or bad-looking in the process. So we were kind of thinking like the general person, such as myself, though I've been in this industry forever, attempting to run something through a wall would not be an option. So kind of rerouting it and having it show, I want something that's going to be decent looking to do that.
And with the flexibility, you can really just tuck up the excess wire a lot easier than in some of them. So that you got to do massive wraps if they're so tight. But this, you can just stuff right up there. And
that's right. You can control this. Most products you can't. This you can manipulate and control the way you need to. You're absolutely correct.
Fantastic. Okay. Moving on now, you also talked briefly about your power outlets, how they're hot right now. Like I have the 7 series, and I did a video on this not too long ago. I was extremely impressed with this power outlet here. Not only just the performance, but the looks. Like this is actually like almost be a centerpiece. I would have no problem just setting this on my living room table and have a couple of outlets on it. So it doesn't look ugly to me. This is
good.
Yeah, what's the weight like, right? It's got a bit of heft to it too.
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely a very solid piece. Again, with your flex cable, so it can really go anywhere in the house. But now this one has the 6 outlets. And you have an 8 outlet, correct?
Yeah, we have a 6 and an 8 outlet, and then I think on yours as well. Yeah, there's Stan. Stan has the 8 outlet. You and I have the 6, and then on yours, you also have obviously the 2 USB-C, the 3 the 3 USB-C, the 2 USB-A, and then the 1 USB-C on this 5 series is that power delivery 45 watt. And I don't think people are talking about that enough, but I do believe that is the power of the future, which is a very efficient, low energy charging capability where you can just use a USB-C cable and charge the device and in rapid time. Like I think from the stats that we have run on my, I have an IBM Lenovo, the Yoga, which is run with USB-C. I can be completely dead charging with that PD 45 watt and my USB-C cable, and within 50 minutes, I am 95% charged. It is wicked fast.
And yeah, that especially for people with laptops and with the home office, more and more people are relying on them because desktops. It's a little harder to manipulate a desktop at home, but the laptop's just great in the charging. Now, this also tell me a little bit. Like it has the 3 symbols here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about those?
Go ahead, Stanley. That's your baby.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the functions of this product is naturally surge protection, followed by we also continue to monitor the ground, because you could lose ground even in your internal wall wiring, which is obviously a safety feature, an important aspect of making sure that the power strip works well. And of course, the other LED status is around, do you have power? Do you have power going into it? You notice that there's actually a fair amount of space here in the front of the outlet, between,
I'll do it.
Right there. So obviously there's this little guy is a surge. It's a circuit breaker. It's actually will pop if you have way too much load on this thing, right? So it's safety protection. This section here is where all of the EMI components are and surge protection components. There's a big circuit board there that is absolutely stuffed in there full of very premium components that take care of surge at different voltage levels, and also take care of some of the transient noise. So in other words, like if someone downstream runs an old vacuum cleaner or something like that, you don't want that noise to be then pulled or pushed into your devices. And we always take this for granted, but we always wonder why we lose Wi-Fi, why we lose, why devices don't last as long. Well, they're not really made to constantly take surge and to constantly take EMC noise, EMI noise, right? Mm-hmm. This is why we have a big module that we custom designed in here with a very, very senior group of engineers here in the US. The parts we use are very, very premium, as I said, and we do not overrate our product. So when we talk about the Joule rating, it is very, very true Joule rating. I've taken apart a lot of products from our competitors, and they state like 4,000 joules, and you look and there's one little part in there, and that's silliness, right? So when you look in here, it's a whole circuit board full of parts. There's multiple inductors, multiple coils in here to just get that noise down so that you have clean power coming out the other end. And then similarly on this end is where there's a circuit board around smart charging. And so when we talk about smart charging, that means that the port is actually talking to your device, figuring out what's the most effective way to charge it. So much like a Tesla charger that actually negotiates with the car battery system and figures out how much power to push, and that's how it's able to charge so quickly. We're doing the same thing on the PD ports, but also the standard ports as well, the standard Type-C ports and the Type-A port that's here. So if you have a smart device that's able to do the smart charging, then our product's going to work with there. And we also use a US-based chipset, which is a little more premium. So again, more than expected all the way through the product. Aluminum housing, lots of design, and this thing's absolutely packed full of parts. It's not just an empty box.
Absolutely, and with the ability to charge multiple devices, like I have, you have stuff that's sitting at home, but majority of it is iPhones, iPads, and at least in my house, it's so the extra on the side plus the 6 on the top, it just makes that a fantastic product. And one of our big sellers right now, especially with home offices, a lot more people are really installing the home office, and that is probably one of the best things to start with, I think, because good clean power is what you get a good foundation there.
Thank you.
And so next I want to talk about the cleaning spray. That's the other big seller we have right now. We can't even hardly keep this on the shelves, obviously, with everyone paranoid with COVID. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your spray there.
I'll unbox it while you talk about it, Stan.
Let's do it. Well, so yeah, you would have absolutely laughed how much R&D this product took. We took a look at what was out there. There are a lot of great screen cleaning products actually that do a good job polishing and cleaning screen. What we did though is I think innovative is add a very mild but very effective agent that basically makes sure that it killed bacteria and viruses. We not only did that, we actually had the product tested by SGS independently to make sure. So we have a test report around even like how effective the bacteria annihilation is. The thing about it is if you look at a lot of the guidelines, they'll tell you use alcohol and clean everything with it. That's great until you clean a screen, because screens have all sorts of coatings on them to make sure that there isn't glare, right, and all those things. Those are sprayed on, and you can actually remove them with alcohol. And so this is why we do recommend using Austere Clean and Protect. We specifically designed it to clean, but also protect. And the protect is both in terms of the germicidal capabilities, but also in terms of how it's polished and how it makes your screen look afterwards. The cloth is a specially made cloth. We spent a lot of time finding the right materials. Again, so these are microfiber surfaces there. So on one end, it's like a cleaning surface, almost like a terry cloth surface, but a microfiber. On the other side, there is like a microfiber, very fine surface. And in between, there's a heavy-duty foam, and so it lays flat against the screen, and so you're able to clean it very well with just a few sprays, right? We figure a single bottle will actually last you about 200 cleanings, on an average size display. So that's a lot of value there. Use that pad, and you can probably reuse that pad later all through the house. So there's a lot in there.
It's washable. You can actually put it in the washing machine when it gets dirty, and then air dry it, and you can reuse it multiple times.
Awesome. So now you recommend that for like any kind of screen, TV screen, cell phone, iPad?
Absolutely. It'll work on small devices. I clean my laptop, my keyboard with it. It's effective. It has almost like a very benign scent. It's allergen free. So yeah, it was a lot of effort to do it, and now we're just really pleased that people are just giving us great feedback on it.
How's the demand been on that?
A lot. Like, we cannot keep it in stock. I will tell it, I say this all the time, when certain things about a certain product end up in life where you wouldn't expect it. We were on a Reddit page, and Reddit being Reddit, right? Somebody was going through and they were talking about, hey, what's the best thing out there to clean your devices? And someone that we had no idea actually took our clipping from our website, posted it up, and said, this is the best clean and protect that I found in the market for any device. And we were like, oh, we've made it. If you end up on a Reddit post like that, then somebody who's out there is liking your stuff. So it's been great. We honestly, I will say, in the beginning, it was a good additional part of the home theater sale. Since March, it's just taken on a completely different life in a good way.
Outstanding. And we do have a question from Ashley about the cleaning cloth. How often do you suggest cleaning the cloth between usages?
So it depends. If you are cleaning something that doesn't necessarily have dirt or grime, I usually probably do it once a month, to be honest with you. But sometimes I'll clean something and it really does have like yucky dirt on it, and I'll just throw it in right away because I don't want that dirt going back on whatever device I'm cleaning next. So as you can see, like on this cloth right now, it's relatively clean, and just with me spraying and cleaning like my laptop and my phone, it's doing, it's staying relatively clean. So I think monthly. But then sometimes I'll clean something, I'll get yuck on it, and I'll just throw it in right away.
Yeah, because we're using microfiber, it actually is able to release the dirt very well. So you don't need to like put it in a deep cleaning cycle in your wash. You just put it in a simple wash, and it'll just come brand new out.
Yeah. And then Ashley also followed up, does this work well for iPads?
It's awesome for iPads. Actually, I enjoy it more for my iPad and my iPhone than I even do for my TV. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah, because they get so grimy so quickly, especially my iPhone. Now even with the protective layer on it, cleans that protective layer just as good as just the straight screen. Okay.
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, okay. The next thing I always like to ask is, are you guys working on anything new? Is there anything in the horizon you're developing that somebody can maybe say, hey?
We are. So I will say one thing that we have come to as our kind of mission and vision is we are really focused on the home, and going and making sure that every room in the home that we can kind of improve the accessories, both experience through innovation and technology and or design, we want to do. So Stan has a lot of things in the vault for appliances in the kitchen, and or other rooms in the home that way. I would say that we have seen a huge surge of, again, our home theater product used for home office, or what I would call virtual learning stations for the kids. So like my daughter's room has completely been converted. What was, simply her, having maybe her laptop in her room now is like our power product to be able to charge her Wii, and she's got a switch in her room. So now the charging of the switch, the charging of the laptop, the charging of the iPad, the charging of the monitor, she was like, I need one of those things because I can't keep all my stuff charged, right? And she does not want to charge it outside of her bedroom because it's her stuff, right? So that's what I guess the 12-year-old that you get. So I would say a lot of those things are happening, but appliances for sure. I would say even in the bedroom, as much as we adore our power product, most of like a bedroom solution for a TV, this is probably a little too large unless you're on a credenza of some kind. So for those wall installations, we're looking at maybe smaller versions of product that would still have a lot of our great capability features, but put into a smaller platform. For sure. And then I'm taking off Stan's credit, but I love what he does, so I can't help it. And then I would say we're looking at like making versions of our USB-C cables with like in the same look and feel of our HDMI. So if you're in a home office, that whole look and feel comes together. I might be testing some of that right now with my laptop and my monitor that's all set up. So hopefully those will come out relatively soon.
Okay, so you are working on USB-C cables.
Yeah, for sure. And also I would say that with the success of Clean and Protect, we are probably looking at a few other packaging solutions. So another smaller, maybe for the car, and it's really even like some wipes and so forth that you could just kind of spot clean and so forth, using that same formula, which is really proprietary to us at this point. I would say the main thing is that you may have seen on the packaging, you may have seen on the website, this concept of a design. So austere design, architectural design, there's all sorts of versions of A design, you know, but really A design is around the concept of what Dina talked about earlier, which is around making products that truly deliver, right? Forget about all this junk that you buy online and, you know, it lasts you for 2 months and you put it in the trash. I think it's really important for us to talk about, you know, part of our mission is really to deliver products of high value, but that last, that have a great warranty. But part of that is, you know, think about the impact on the environment. If you can use one of these things for 5-10 years and you don't have to go through 10 of them because they're so cheap, right, then I think we're doing a great job. And so we've taken the environmental kind of goal of making sure our packaging is recyclable, making sure we're made out of post-industrial materials, making sure that a lot of our product is recyclable even. So you'll see there's aluminum parts where there could be plastic parts. You know, we're also doing a bit on that. And as we get into new products, you'll see that continue. And so our goal is to, you know, at every price range and at every type of product category to continue with that mission. And I think our customers have become loyal for that reason.
Yeah, one of the things too on the packaging, so this box, I mean, I don't know if you guys see, it's just very easy to take off the sleeve, which has all the information. But then the box is very nondescript. And we did that for a reason. So if you can see, it's actually very beautifully made inside and out. Our goal is once you take the product out of this, right, you have a beautiful box on the inside. Use it, reuse it, store, you know, people spend a lot of money at the Container Store to actually get their drawers organized and things like that. We did that on purpose. You could reuse these versus throwing them into the trash. And the other biggest fear, and the reason why we went with paper, and it is recycled paper to start, but you know, if you go look at the research out there, though plastic is recyclable, plastic is also the most expensive thing to recycle. And waste management companies have kind of given up on it because it is, you know, they're still businesses, right? They recycle where they're going to make money, and plastic is not it. And the consumer and technology industry, 60% of all of our goods that are put out there are done with plastic. So instead of contributing to the problem when creating the brand, we thought, how can we think of ways to actually not only leverage something that is easy to recycle, and more importantly, get everybody excited about just reusing something that's beautiful because of the way that it looks in different parts of the home. So there was even some thought and innovation around that too from us, which you'll continue, as Stan said, to see. Other couple fun things coming down the pipe, I would say, is, you know, education is very important to us. And so we are working very hard on what I would call education through content done through our website, through our social, on how we actually train the floor as well. So really taking the time to educate. And what I would say by educating is, you know, the customer that we spoke to and the customer that we built this brand around really wants to know why the benefit for them and how's it going to make my life better. And if I do spend more money, what am I going to get from that spend? So taking the time to really break it down and make it a very simple, you know, question and answering, you know, conversation through video and through blogs and any kind of information that we can get out there about the brand. It's very true to the root of who we are and how we want to educate. You know, I believe if you understand why accessories are important, and you know that actually spending money on accessories sometimes gets you even more in the performance of a product than spending the top end dollar on the hardware. You could buy hardware more at a moderate price, and with the right accessories that tend to be more cost effective, get even better performance out of a product than if you go spend super high end money on a hardware and buy the cheapest accessory solution out there. So it's just educating the customer on that. And then I think based on what we're trying to do there too, we have an audio partnership that's coming down the pipe that we'll announce in September that we're very proud of, that will be a global partnership for our brand and theirs, and the importance of why attaching to give you better sound and really get the best performance out of soundbars, speakers, subwoofers, you name it. So that's coming down the pipe. Can't say who it is quite yet, but we'll announce it very soon, and we're really proud of that partnership.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for those who are watching. You can get a lot of these austere products at HiDEFlifestyle.com. You guys were both absolutely fantastic. Anything else you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
No, I don't think so. I think this has been great. I mean, if you want to learn more, our website, I think, is a super great informational tool. You can go to austere.com, but, you know, HiDEF Lifestyle has everything we do on steroids, and they have taken things into their own hands to really explain why our brand is important and how to use it. So easily you could go to HiDEF Lifestyle and learn just as much. We're excited about what we're trying to do to change the culture around accessories and why it's important, both in technology, but even more important in design. So thank you, Layman, very much.
Yeah, Layman, thank you for being a great partner. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate it too. And thank you again very much for coming out today. I appreciate it. And hope the audience enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you all.